All right, today we're jumping into one of the toughest, most demanding calls ever made. Follow me, whatever the cost. It's a call that really challenges our comfort, our priorities, even our most sacred duties. So, let's get into it.
Okay, this is one of those verses that just stops you in your tracks, right? It sounds harsh, maybe even a little uncaring. But what if there's something else going on here? What if, under the surface, it's a call to a life of radical purpose, a life that's way more meaningful than anything we could ever plan for ourselves? Let's explore that.
So, where does this all come from? We're looking at the Bible, in the book of Matthew, chapter 8, verses 18 to 22. It's this really brief but incredibly powerful scene. You have two men who step forward, and they seem eager to join Jesus. But his response to them, it's not what you'd expect from a leader who's trying to build a following. Not at all. It challenges everything.
And these two encounters kind of force us to look in the mirror and ask a really tough question. Are we following the real Jesus, the one who demands everything? Or have we maybe created a more convenient version of Jesus who fits a little more comfortably into our lives?
So here's our game plan for breaking this down. First, we're going to look at the initial encounter. Then, we'll dive into the two conversations. One is all about comfort, the other is all about urgency. We'll compare the two guys, and then finally, we'll talk about what all of this means for you today.
So try to picture this, right? Jesus is by the sea, there's a big crowd pressing in on him, and out of that crowd, two guys step forward. They seem ready to commit their lives to him. But they're about to learn that following Jesus isn't like joining a club. It's a radical reorientation of your entire life.
And this gets to a fundamental truth about Jesus. He never lowers the standard. He's not interested in building a fan base of casual followers. No, he's calling for a deep, life-altering, all-in kind of allegiance. And he's brutally honest about the cost.
Okay, now let's meet the first man. He's fired up, full of enthusiasm, ready to follow Jesus anywhere. But he's about to come face to face with a pretty hard reality.
This man, who's a respected teacher of the law, makes this incredibly bold declaration. Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. I mean, you can feel his passion, can't you? It sounds like the absolute ideal response.
But Jesus doesn't say, "Great, welcome to the team." Instead, he paints this really stark picture of his life. Now, he's not complaining here. He's just being totally upfront about the cost. He's asking, are you really ready to give up your comfort, your security, for this mission? Think about that. The creator of the universe chose a life of homelessness for his mission to redeem the world. Are you willing to do the same?
Man, this is so relevant for college students today. You start out with so much passion for serving God, but then reality hits. You're dealing with difficult people, you're not seeing the results you hoped for, and it's costing you your time, your sleep, even your social life. And that initial fire can burn out really fast.
And here's the bottom line. Jesus isn't looking for a firework of excitement. He wants the deep, steady burn of allegiance. Because allegiance is what's left when the initial passion fades. Allegiance is what carries you through the tough times, when comfort is a distant memory and the cost is very, very real.
Okay, now we meet the second man. If the first man's issue was comfort, this man's issue is all about timing. He offers what seems like a perfectly reasonable excuse for delaying, but Jesus' response, well, it's anything but reasonable. His request sounds completely justified. Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Now, this isn't some flimsy excuse. This is a sacred family duty. So why in the world does Jesus respond with such a shocking command?
To really feel the weight of what Jesus says next, you have to understand this. In Jewish culture, burying your parents wasn't just a duty, it was a sacred obligation. It literally trumped almost every other responsibility. It was a non-negotiable act of honor.
And then Jesus just delivers the knockout punch. Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. What he's doing is making a radical statement. The call to the kingdom of God is so urgent, so all-consuming, that it reorders every other priority in your life, even the most sacred ones.
The takeaway here is powerful and it's personal. There will always be a good reason to put God on hold. A project, a relationship, a degree. But Jesus is telling us that the kingdom of God doesn't operate on our timeline. The time to follow is always now.
So let's compare these two men. You've got the enthusiastic follower and the hesitant one. What can their stories teach us about our own journey of faith? You see, the first man is like a shooting star of enthusiasm. He promises to go wherever, but he risks burning out. The second is kind of like a statue of hesitation.
He asks a wait, and he risks never moving at all. So you have two different dangers, but there is one single radical solution for both. Follow Jesus now.
So, this isn't just a 2,000-year-old story. It's a direct challenge to us, right here, right now. How do we respond to this radical call in our own lives?
Here are 4 practical steps you can take today. First, evaluate your heart. Is your faith fueled by a fleeting emotion or by deep allegiance? Second, name the cost. What have you been unwilling to sacrifice? Third, identify your delay. What's your first let me excuse? And fourth, just take the first step. Practice saying yes to Jesus in one small way today.
So take a moment and be honest with yourself. Which of these two men are you right now? Are you the enthusiastic one, swept up in the emotion of it all but maybe not fully counting the cost? Or are you the reasonable one, always waiting for the perfect moment to fully commit?
Let's get even more specific. What is your let me first? And look, it's probably not something bad. It's likely a good thing, a relationship, a career goal, a personal ambition that you've allowed to take priority over your commitment to Jesus. What is it for you?
Because when you strip away all the excuses, all the delays, all the rationalizations, you're left with a simple, powerful, life-altering command. 3 words that change everything: follow Jesus, now.